Hello, my name is Greg Robinson, and this is Robinson Horsemanship.
Greg, tell us about yourself and where you came from.
I was born and raised in Idaho, southeast Idaho. Pocatello is my hometown, kind of in the Great Basin country is where I grew up. When I was a little boy, my dad was a team roper, a calf roper, horse trader. Did a lot of horse trading with the locals, traded with the Indians a lot. My earliest memories of life at all were at a place called Lincoln Creek on the Indian reservation. Sundays we'd go up there to a team roping. And my dad had a big old bay horse. Actually, he was a Golden Dun is what he called him, Don Jack. And he'd throw me up on him and let me ride him around the arena. And back in the day, it was custom to roach the manes. And that saddle horn was about that big around to me, and it looked like his ears were a mile away. So I got my start with horses pretty early, and then we got a dude ranch and ran trail rides, and I started taking adults on trail rides up through the lowlands, up in the hills, when I was 8 years old. So kind of learned to ride and be okay with visiting with people at the same time at a pretty young age. Unfortunately, my dad passed away when I was young, and we lost the ranch and all the horses and everything, and I had a disconnect there. Got my first job away from home on a ranch when I was 12, working for a great friend, was like a big brother to me, Fred Crane, on another dude outfit. Like I say, when I was 12. And kind of got into riding steers. They hauled me to some rodeos, and them steers couldn't buck me off, and I was winning everything. So kind of went that route for a while, and ended up bull riding for about 20 years. But the horses always came back into my life. It was always, I'd get out away from them, and then they'd circle right back to me. Whether it was taking a job on a cowboying outfit, like I buckarooed in Nevada when I was on the TS when I was 16 years old. And I'd ride a colt for somebody now and again, or again, take another ranch job. So I was always just getting circled back to the horses. And I learned a bunch when I was buckarooing. Really fell in love with the vaquero style of horsemanship, which is real prevalent in that region, and using long ropes and slick horns and the finesse of everything. I was just intrigued by it, and the bridle horses, it just amazed me. So I pretty much well fell in love with that at a pretty young age. And then early 20s, I guess, I was injured, so I was laid up from bull riding for a little while. And Kim Wagner was looking for somebody to ride colts and help him at the barn. And that's when I really got my eyes open to horsemanship and what it really is. I can't thank him and his brother Shane enough for what they taught me. And they put me on the rough string. I went for a lot of bronc rides back in those days working for those guys. But the lessons I learned from them, I'd never even heard of reining, never been to a horse show. And the things those guys did, it was so effortless. And, flying lead changes, I didn't even know what lead I was on, nor did I care until I met those guys. And I'll never forget, Kim told me one day, he said, "Greg, you got good feel, you got good timing. Your problem is you ride like a damn cowboy." I was like, well, I kind of thought that's what I was shooting for. He said, "No, cowboys ride like crap." So he changed a bunch about my body position and started teaching me the mechanics of things. And, from there, went back to cowboying a little bit. Probably the thing that impacted me the most with what I learned with the Wagner boys is the application of the performance horse stuff with everyday working horses, because I was still going to Brandon's and going and helping friends day work and back pinning cattle at the sale barn occasionally. And so I started using what I was learning from those guys on my ranch horses. And I was like, I wished I'd have known this my whole life. I never had to struggle to get where I needed to be. They were always in the right place, and it was effortless. And that's when I didn't realize it, I don't think, until years later when I was in Las Vegas and doing a video with Tim O'Byrne from Working Ranch magazine. And that I'd kind of come up with my own deal, I guess you could say. And I'm not going to take credit for, well, I discovered, but the things that I learned from the Wagners and others in the performance industry, and the things I learned out cowboying, little things I learned from guys that nobody knows. I just kind of blended them all together to kind of format my own brand of horsemanship. And the more I got into it, the easier it got. And the more I learned to ride broke horses and created broke horses, the more it changed how I started them. And I wasn't skipping anything, but I didn't want to circle around to take one step forward and say, okay, now we're at this level. And then, okay, now I've got to train you to not do what I just taught you to do so I can ride you like you're broke. I'm going to ride you like you're broke basically from day one. And all that blended together made horses that were handy no matter where I was. And that brings up another subject, being handy. I mean, I think that's the best compliment anybody could give somebody else is, what, that person's a hand. I mean, that means a lot in my world. It's better than gold buckles. So just because somebody is a super great team roper doesn't necessarily make them a hand. And it may rub some people wrong, but winning a bunch in the NRHA doesn't necessarily make you a hand. It makes you good at that. But when I think of a hand, I think of full spectrum of horsemanship. Is he good in the branding trap? Is he good out doctoring? Is he good in the show pen? Anywhere you're horseback, you're doing the job right. To me, that's handy. And I strive for that, and it's constant growing and learning. I'm not done by any stretch of the imagination. There's no way I can't live enough lifetimes to learn everything I hope to know about horsemanship and those amazing animals. But I don't want to separate, well, this is my reiner, and this is my trail riding horse, and this is the horse I rope on, and this is the horse I brand on. It's all one horse. To me, that's a handy horse. I don't want just show pen broke horses, and I don't want just ranch horses. I want them to do equally well no matter where they're at. And I think that's been very useful to me, especially in my clinics, because I'm working with everybody from people who only want to trail ride to people who really want to perform and anything in between. So I think my program helps horses and people on the full spectrum of that.